Digital IDs are on the way to Sri Lanka and it's way worse than we think. So I made a video on Instagram a couple of days ago talking about why you should not be accepting digital IDs, and I promised that I'll post a video on YouTube about it. And I started researching into it and it is bad. So we're told that digital IDs are an electronic representation of an individual's identity, serving as a secure digital equivalent to physical documents like a driver's license or passport. And I'm going to get into that part that said driver's license and passport in a minute. But let's talk about why they're saying it's so equivalent to physical documents, but it's like literally not. It's basically your NIC in a digital form on your phone, right? But the thing is, you're going to have to give up your biometrics for this, just so they could verify that you are the owner of the digital ID and that you exist, right? And keep that aside. That's a privacy concern. Where are all of these things stored? All of these information for the digital ID? In data centers, right? And so when we're going to get a data center, either the government stores this data or like a private company that is going to be dealing with all of this, right? So here's the thing. Although they would have the same information that they have right now with your NIC, they won't be able to control it or change it or alter it or confiscate it without your consent, without the physical identification card, right? But when it's vulnerable in their hands, they'll be able to control it anyhow they want, and you won't have a say in it. Do you get what I mean? Because all of the data is vulnerable with them. It's just going to the system and changing a bit of the setting. Here's the thing. Your data will be vulnerable with them for them to control you. This whole digital ID thing is surrounded by control and mass surveillance. And it ties into the UN 2030 agenda and the whole one world government and all of this and that. And when you dig into it, it's like an entrance to a massive rabbit hole. But if you simply put, it's a mass surveillance and control-based agenda, this digital ID thing. And it's not just coming as an SL-UDI for us. It's coming as different variations to every country, but however, it will be at the end, once everyone puts their yes into this digital ID, it will all be connected and controlled by one body. That's where the one world government comes in. That's where the CBDCs come in. That's where the connections to all of this controlling being similar to the current, or even worse than the current China social credit system. Quite literally, if you accept this, it will be the end of your freedom. Like, this is the turning point. Like, so many people say this, bro. They're like, this is the turning point of the human history. And it's so true. Because here's the thing. Okay, first of all, you could even connect AI with this because, dude, you're putting your information, all of your information. So this is not just going to be your name, your address, your date of birth. No. This is known, like the WEF and the UN who are behind this whole thing of the digital IDs, they're saying this will be linked to literally everything. So if you don't have a digital ID, you won't be able to access the internet, you won't be able to grocery shop, you won't be able to access healthcare, you won't be able to get basic banking and government services, like nothing. They will put us into a point with this digital ID that without it, we would not be able to live or carry our lives forward, which is why the current Sri Lankan president is urging, it sounds like a freaking command, by the way, saying that we won't be able to move forward without digitalizing this. And why? Because we are also a part of the UN, and this is connected to the entire UN 2030 agenda. So many people also say that this is biblical, mostly relating it to the book of Daniel, the prophecies of the one world government, and the book of Revelation of the mark of the beast, and Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 17. And I'd agree, because here's the thing. They will play this digital ID out, which they will be starting to put out, the SL-UDI, starting from 2026, if I'm not wrong. Like, a lot of sources mention that it will be put out starting from 2026. Apparently, what they're trying to do within the first year, I'm not as sure, over 16.5 million to 17 million citizens in this digital ID, which is way over half our population. So they're literally trying to push this and force us. And I'll ask you one question, right? If it does not benefit the government, why would they be pushing this so bad? Because we know, even as Sri Lankans, right, the government does not have best at heart for us. It doesn't matter the political party. First of all, this is not an issue with the political parties. This is an issue of the governments, the bodies, versus the public, okay? They're trying to mass surveil us and control us. And so if, like, it wasn't an advantage to them, I don't think they'll be forcing this on us. Like, they are very heavy on, like, trying to force this to us. They're like, you'll not be able to take Sri Lanka forward if you do not abide by these digitalization of Sri Lanka. And they said digitalization of Sri Lanka, not NIC. So that would be basically the SL-UDIs, maybe even like digitalizing the entrances for grocery shop to enter banks or get government services, everything. They're digitalizing everything, public transport, traveling to maybe other countries to get visas. And as I said, driver's license and passports, all of this will be linked into this one digital ID. What they're trying to do is in the tip of the iceberg to remove all of the physical identification documents and put all of it into one digital ID. And That begs the question, so all of these information is in one, and they're in data centers, right? So they will be with the government or the body that the government has given authority to run this thing. That begs the question, how sure are we that this is going to be like really protected, like our privacy will be protected, that this will be guarded very well through really heavy security? This does not contain anything about a government. Like, this is all our data. So like, that begs the question, why would they care? It's just our information, right? So if a hacker comes into the system and hacks everything, it's our data, it's not theirs. So why should they care? Like, they might say it's secure, but we don't know the extent. We're not researching. We're not aware of what this SL-UDI thing is, and the bad side of it, they're like, oh, we're just going to replace the physical identification documents and convert it to a digital ID. This has so much more cons than pros, and all the pros are the government, not us. They're like, oh, theft will be reduced, oh, this will be reduced, that will be reduced. But so would be our privacy, so would be our freedom. It's literally all the advantage to the government. Bro, you accepting this digital ID, just you will add one more person into the basket of the people who are accepting digital IDs versus who are not. So when the people start accepting digital IDs without a choice, right, that makes it mandatory for the rest of us, because then nobody will be able to do anything without digital IDs because everyone has accepted it, and there's a very small percentage that did not accept it. It's been protested by the UK since like last year. The UK is out there protesting, saying no digital IDs. And like, bro, be aware of the international news, because they research into what they're trying to step into, because they do not trust the governments anymore, right? Like, we may be in a government that, you know, is better than the last, but that doesn't mean they won't abide into UN regulations and their plans. So although they might have the worst in heart, any political party, which is why I keep saying this is not a political party issue. This is the governments and the UN versus the public of them trying to control us issue. And by the time everyone may have accepted this digital ID thing, if you are not knowledgeable enough of what this could do, then this will become mandatory. And once this becomes mandatory and they have control over all of our information, which could be taken down and within seconds of a change in settings, then we'd have no choice. And if we were to protest something about lower wages and either housing costs increasing or the government being trash or whatever, one little comment on, you know, a social media that you won't be able to access without this digital ID, one single comment would be able to make you lose access to your banking accounts. Because they could do that within a couple of seconds. You do something against the rules, they could confiscate you from accessing the internet. They could confiscate you from your banking accounts. They could confiscate you from buying or selling. If you say no to any of the decisions that they will make in Sri Lanka, or just basically any country in the world, right? If you say anything against it, any trash talking towards any government bodies, or anything like refusing vaccines, refusing brain chips, things like that, they could confiscate you from buying and selling. They could confiscate you from traveling. They could confiscate you from accessing banking accounts. All of it could be done. Or they could just cancel your entire digital ID and you won't be able to live because you're now in the system. If there's enough people saying no to this, they won't be able to force it. Because here's the thing. People have power, and Sri Lanka, as one whole, we have done that before, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, you have to go and do an utterly against this and all of that, but UK is doing that, by the way. You could search it up. They had massive protests against this and petitions being signed against this. But yeah, we have the power. We have the power to stand against this digital ID. And all I'm saying is research more about this. See what they're saying in the international news about this. I'm not saying that BBC, CNN. I'm saying what the people are saying, what the public is saying in social media. Because, by the way, they lie all the time. Get to know more and share this word, bro. Share this to other people. Because you don't know how many people are unaware of this than the people who are aware of this. Especially Sri Lankans. Like, dude, this is a very serious case. And if we are to get this digital ID in 2026, we're just a couple of weeks to months away from this. Like, spread the word more. Research more. Because, bro, Jesus is coming back really, really soon. Like, all of this is just so linked. Like, you cannot talk about digital IDs and be like, oh, this is not just a prophecy that is going to be fulfilled in the Bible, because it is. Book of Revelations, Book of Daniel, it talks about this. Those books talk about digital IDs. They talk about this one world government, this one world system that you won't be able to buy yourself without the mark of the beast. Jesus is coming back really, really soon. Like, really, really soon. So while you are being aware of this digital ID thing, one thing to be very, very clear about, you know that you have Jesus. Surrender your life to Jesus and be in his word. Be in his word and like spread the word to people, dude. Spread the gospel. Share the gospel to people. Because this is the best time. Like, you cannot talk about digital IDs and AIs and be like, yeah, no, that's just something random. That's definitely not something in the Bible. It is. Those are signs right before Jesus is going to come back. So are you ready, dude? Are you ready? Have you repented? Have you given your life to Jesus? Those are things to consider and think about, right? So repent. Go share the word to people. Tell them, research more about this, dude. Be aware of what's going on. Because this is not the time to play. Yeah, God bless you.